Hey everyone, it's Jessica here, and I decided to dust off my memory planner. So it's been a while since I worked in this or published anything in it, but I am picking up where I left off, which is back in 2023 in June. So this is week 24 of my Stop the Blur memory planner by Heidi Swapp, but I like to use a mix and match type of thing in this album and just pull in anything and everything from my stash. So I'm using some Heidi Swapp stamps today, as well as a bunch of others from my stash, including this little alphabet stamp by Tim Holtz, Stampers Anonymous, and I just love these little numbers in it. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp all of my dates over on the left hand side of both of these pages. So I'm using inks today in Crackling Campfire for an orange shade, and the bluish one here is Uncharted Mariner. Those are actually two of my favorite colors in the distress inks. I've pulled in some bits from Elle's studio, and I wanted to make a pocket to hold my photos here because I have a bunch of them. I combined 2 days into one since I had a lot of beach photos from the one day that we went, and I actually didn't have any photos at all from that Friday. So I just decided to make a large pocket here, and I did a collage print on a 4x6 paper, and then I'm making a vellum pocket to go over both of these. So what I'm doing is I just measured out the size of both of those spaces, which is a little over 4 inches. So I doubled that size and then just added a little bit extra. I think it was like an inch extra, just so I would have something to overlap and tape itself to. So as you can see, the pocket is a little bit bigger than the 4 inches, just so that my photos slide in and out of there very nicely. I'm going to go ahead and attach this 4x6 card by Elle Studio from one of their summer packs. This is from one of their monthly kits, I believe. And then I'm going to use this little warmer weather little die cut on top of there. But as you can see, there's my little pocket. I'll go ahead and affix that down to my memory planner. But I really like this idea because it allows me to have that full collage print, and it's not in your face and taking up the entire page. So it's a really fun little kind of interactive element that allows you to pull it out and look at those photos. I'm going to actually make a little pull tab here by just using some stamps again. I think these ones they're from my stash again, but these ones I think are by Hip Kit Club, if I remember right. And I just stamped 2 of those little half circles together, and then I'm going to stamp this little bit on here, and that's going to be my little pull tab. So I'm going to grab my little circle punch by Creative Memories to punch this out, so I don't have to worry about cutting this out by hand and making a mess of that circle. It's just a perfect little circle out from that little circle punch, which is actually a punch that I don't use very, very often. And I'm surprised because I do a lot of circle layouts and a lot of circly things, but I find that I don't reach for that punch near enough as I should. So here I'm just going to go ahead and attach this. I'm just going to use some Nuvo glue to attach it to itself here and close up that flap. And then I just put a little bit on the back side to adhere down to my photo. So I'm just going to use that, and I'm just going to tuck this photo back in, and that's all I need to do with that. I'm not going to add anything else to it. I love the way that that looks, and it's kind of peeking through there, so you know that there's photos behind there, but it's a nice little fun interactive little pull-out piece. I'm going to add some other interactive elements to this as well. This little week stamp, I actually didn't know that it was already glued down. I thought this paper clip was holding it in place, but it's not. It's actually holding the one behind it. So I'm just going to leave that there, but that little week number is by Elle Studio. They come in a pack, and it was already glued down, so I'm not going to move that around or do anything else with it. I was actually going to pop it out and put on top of this, but you know what? It's glued down, and it's perfectly fine. You can still see the week number, so I'm just going to leave it alone. And then I'm going to grab a whole bunch of more elements and stamps and different things from my stash here. These are some more alphabet stamps by Elle's. I love that they're open. I have the actual stamps that you can fill them in as well, but I'm going to leave this one open and then stamp my next word underneath it with a different alphabet stamp. So this one's just going to say bath time. As you can see, she's laying on a towel. She just got out of the bath. This was one of her favorite times of the day at that point in her life. And actually, she's almost 2 now, and she still loves bath time. She loves just splashing in water. She loves water in general, And bath time at that point in her life was just the favorite part of the day. And she absolutely loved splashing and just playing with little cups and things in the bathtub. So this was one she was just fresh as a daisy and getting out of the bathtub and getting her little sleeper on. And she just loved getting in her snuggly clothes. And that was like her sign that it was time for bed. And I'm telling you what, this kid has been the best one out of all of them at going to sleep, because she is just amazing. Maybe it's like third time's charm type of thing, but she is the type of kid that you can just lay down in her bed and she knows that it's time for bed, and she's just amazing at it. And she doesn't fuss too much. She doesn't get up in the middle of the night a whole lot, and if she does, she puts herself right back to sleep. So she has been the best sleeper, and I am so thankful, because I feel like this third baby, I kind of earned that with having two boys first that were terrible, terrible sleepers, and kind of still are at this point. So I feel like I really earned that. I just used a little scallop border stamp. That one was by All and Create. I got it from Cherry on Top Shop, and I'm just going to pop that photo right down. I love that everything is nice and flat. It doesn't take up a lot of space in my album, and I can, it doesn't have like a lot of bulk, so it sits nice. So I have a bunch of other things that I pulled out here. I pulled out some little banner pieces by Heidi Swapp. That's from her monthly Stop the Blur kit from a while back that I was subscribed to. And then I pulled out some little tab stamps by Elle's, and I'm just stamping some of these. I'm going to run these through my die cutting machine and use the coordinating dies with that to cut out those little icon stamps and tabs so that I can go ahead and adhere them where I want them. I'm just using those on a little card by Ellie's Studio from the monthly kit. So I've got those cut out. I'm going to go ahead and pull out another stamp. This one's by Heidi's Stop the Blur monthly kit again. I'm just going to stamp this little shaking my head sign or abbreviation on there, and use that on these photos of my son holding this chicken that got loose in our garage. We had peeps in our garage in their little pen, and they had started getting pretty big at this point and learning how to fly. So we had a little escapee, and it was running around in our garage. Now, mind you, our garage is 60 by 80 feet. So it's fairly big, and there's a lot of equipment and things and places to hide in there. So my son was such a trooper. He chased this chicken down, and actually he didn't even have to chase it very far from the pen. It kind of stayed about 10 feet away, and he was able to corner it and just grabbed it and was just having the time of his life running around holding this chicken, showing me, Mom, I got him. Her, actually, but it was just the cutest little thing. And to this day, he just loves chickens and ducks. I actually have some photos to scrap of him holding these giant ducks that we found on one of our adventures. And I have to scrap those because they're just adorable. And he loves ducks and anything like that. So I'll have to get those scrapped soon so you guys can see what I mean. But they were literally the fattest ducks that I've ever seen in my life. They're huge. These are little banner strips by Heidi's monthly kit, so I'm just going to use a few of them. I really, really loved the little layered look. I know she makes stamps like this too, and I don't have them, so I'm excited that I get to use these and play with them because I don't have the stamps. So these are kind of just a fun little piece that I'm going to add on and embellish this up a little bit. And actually add 3 of them. I know, overkill, right? It's not. It's totally not. They look so cute, and I just love them. I'm going to add a couple more things to this little pocket, and I think I'm going to grab a little sun because it feels like it needs a sun on there too, on top of that other little die cut, maybe beside the banners or something. So I'm going to grab that in a bit. But for now, I'm going to finish off my date at the top. I usually make a little summary up top that says the full dates up there. So it's going to say June 12 through 18 for this week to finish that off. I'm going to use my coordinating colors for that. I just basically lined up my my stamps side by side on that stamp block, and then I just stamped them at the same time. And I put the little sun in the middle because I thought that was cute. None of these alphabet stamps or stamp sets come with dashes, which I find crazy. I guess you could maybe use like the Elle or something, but I think it's a bit long to use as a dash. So I sometimes try to use something else, like a little picture like that or icon for the middle. I really wanted to make another interactive element. I didn't want this to be totally picture pictures. I wanted to have some other elements and shapes and things. So, well, I guess it's not different shapes, but I wanted to have different elements. So I decided to make a little flap for my son's photos here. Since I had 2 photos of him, I'm going to tuck both of his inside this little sun. This is another little pocket card from Ellie's studio, and I'm going to tuck them both in here and do like a little lift the flap type thing. But I'm going to use a photo corner in the corner of it so that it's not flapping around and kind of sticking up. That way I can keep my book nice and flat. It's not going to add a ton of bulk to my book. So that's pretty much what I'm going to do with that. I'm not going to add anything else on the inside. I felt kind of bad about covering them up because I had pictures of all 3 of them here for this day, and I felt bad about covering up my one son versus no one else, but he's the only one that has 2 photos, so I felt that that was pretty fair. So I'm just going to tuck that photo corner on there, on the corner of that one, just for a little flap hold so that it's not flapping around, and then I will adhere my other 2 photos. This day was, we got a bunch of grain bins and a whole bunch of oats or grain or something that they're playing in. I think it was oats. And we had to go pick it all up and haul them home and everything. And that was from my work campus. I work for a large university, and we ended up getting that there. And while my husband was loading these large grain bins on the trailer during each load, my kids just had an absolute blast playing on that pile of oats. So that's what they're doing here. And it was just a beautiful sunny day. And my daughter was actually still on her sleeper. I never changed her when she woke up because we pretty much pulled out as soon as she woke up and in the morning. And I never even changed her out of her sleeper, but that's how we roll sometimes, right? And yeah, so that's how life goes around here. And I am just adding a few more little wordy bits. These are some Heidi Swapp ones. I've got my Elle Studio Fun in the Sun one over here that I'm going to just drop on the left. And then I'm going to fill in with all of my journaling. So I pretty much use any of these open spots to journal or write anything silly or funny about the day, or anything that I've mentioned in here is pretty much what I wrote on the actual pages. So I'll do a little bit more stamping. I'm calling this one a rest day. I actually had work that day, I'm sure, but that point, I think that might have been in the evening if she was going to daycare at that point, but if she wasn't at daycare, she might have still been home with me during the day, but I just love her little snuggles, and she still to this day still likes snuggles, so she's just been an absolute blessing to our family, and all of my kids are, so they're just so wonderful and make our life crazy, but so good. So I'm just filling this one in. I'm going to add a little sun here on the right and stamp another little phrase. And then I'm going to finish up with my journaling, and I'm not even sure what else I had to this. It seems really, really filled with photos. This one's a very, very photo heavy spread, but it still has a couple interactive fun elements, which I think is cool. But it's been a long time since I've played in this memory planner album. My goal here is that I'm going to do the larger photos and like my favorite photos in other albums, my 12 by 12 albums and my 52 favorite albums, which is the photo that's one favorite photo of each week. So I have a couple of those mini albums, and then obviously my 12 by 12 albums that I usually do, and then all my smaller photos like this, just kind of our day-to-day things, are going to be documented in this planner album, this memory planner. So that's kind of my goal with this, and it seems to be working out really, really well, that it's going to cut down my 12 by 12 scrapbooks a lot. So a lot of those little photos that don't really need a full 12 by 12, but I still want to save them and document them, this is a great way to do that. So here's what the finished spread looks like. I hope you guys enjoyed this today. If you want to know anything that I've used that I haven't mentioned, please leave a comment down below for me and I'll do my best to answer. And I hope you enjoyed it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for being here. I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.